Mr. Perkins?
Hey, Sharon Combs, SC. I'm good. I'm well. How are you?
I'm well. I am in the place. I'm excited to be able to take this time and talk to some industry-specific type topics. We have a couple of great individuals with us tonight. We're going to talk about living in the tension, the SPD tension. Sometimes it gets tight. It gets tight, but you know what? The team that gets it clean keeps it right. And so I'm excited that we'll be able to hear some of the things they have to say.
This is going to be a great conversation. You know, tools, tips, how to avoid, how to live healthy within that workplace tension within SPD. There's a lot of it, and it's so many. It can come from everywhere and anywhere at the same time.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about getting into it from that component because, you know, just kudos to those of you who are in the heart of the hospital, you know, the heart of the hospital, the heartbeat of the hospital. There is a lot of tension that you just exist in. Not tension where you just want to just charge over somebody. You may feel that too. It's okay. Just don't do it. But just the tension that it really is in everyday aspects. So, you know, what do you think? Should we give them an opportunity to share the video? Go ahead.
I think we should get to it. You know, listen, you could be doing anything else in the world right now. And on Tuesday, this is the place to be here on Knowledge and Nonsense. So I think without further ado, let's bring in our spectacular guests.
All right, let's bring them in. First up, we have Malikah Turner, and I'm so excited.
MC.
Hi.
So honored, Malikah, that you are joining us. I'm excited to hear some of the feedback, the insight that you have. And of course, we're also joined by Miss Jelks, Miss Monique Jelks. We're excited to have you as well.
Hey, Monique, how are you?
Fabulous.
How are you? Yo,
I'm in good company with Miss Malikah Turner, so this is gonna be exciting.
Yes.
Yes.
Eminem. Loving it.
Oh, that could be. We could be on stage doing a whole presentation, Monique and Malikah.
Right. You know what? I think you can. M&M's. I think you can.
You never know what could happen.
That right. We could do a whole duo presentation.
I'm here for it.
Let's see what happens after this show tonight.
Let's see.
Let's see what happens. Let's bring it in.
This is a working interview.
Yes.
Just working.
So listen, hey Arlene, how are you doing? Always mad love for you guys being faithful engagers and faithful supporters. Listen, we're talking about living in the tension. I know there's been some tension moments that you also may have experienced. Feel free to put them in the comments. If it's something you want to share, but maybe you don't want to have your name just directly associated with it, it's fine. You can text that to 214-717-5921. But that's enough for me. Let's jump right in. Either one of you just jump in. When you heard the title, Living in the SPD Tension, like what ran through your mind? Just what?
So let me just jump in real quick because I had so many tension situations that popped in my head. So many. And I was like, this is going to be a great conversation because when you said the thought about would you be willing to do this, I was like, heck yeah. And so one of the standouts is it's those phone calls you get where the surgeon wants you to come into the room. Ooh. That is the most tension for no matter what position you play in sterile processing. If you ever have to go to that room, that's tension. That's tension. Goodness. It's like walking in the house and you know you get ready to be on punishment. Your mama getting ready to give it to you hard, right? Yes. And so I thought about the time that I had to go to the operating rooms and how I had to de-escalate tension. Yeah.
Hey, Monique, you kicked it right off. And let me tell you, for many of our new leaders, the operating room begins to have this aura, right? Whereas the only reason you should be in the operating room is if you're a patient or if you're a provider. And anything in between those two is tension somewhere, right?
Yes.
So if you're not the patient, then you're the provider. But for new leaders, because I remember when I was a new leader, and certain physicians or nurses had a reputation. You don't want to cross paths with Nurse X. You don't want to do it, right? Mm-hmm. So that long walk
Yeah.
Wait, let's play it out. First, a phone call. And all you hear is background noise. You can't make it out. But out of all the noise, you hear room 15, right? Room 15. You speak through your department. The department I was in at the time had an elevator in the department. Get to the elevator, heart is pounding, starting to sweat. You make it to the OR. The front nurses at the desk are looking at you. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody knows the secret, except for you. Here comes SPD.
Yeah, so serious.
Yes.
Right, dead man coming. Right.
Yeah.
So that tension is a learned skill how to navigate in those waters. It really is. So Malikah, how did you handle that? You got called to the OR. You still get called to the OR.
You know what? Honestly, getting called to the OR, I've gotten to the point where it doesn't faze me.
Yeah.
My approach is always, what can I bring to you now? And what can we handle later? Because a lot of times physicians, they want to have the dialogue while they're over the patient.
Yes.
And my stance is, we're not going to do this while you're standing over the patient.
Yes.
Because I don't need you escalating and getting angry at the response that I'm going to give you. So as opposed to engaging in that way, what can I bring you? What do you need?
Yes.
When are you free so we can talk about this later?
Yeah.
And we can figure it out.
Let me tell you,
because a lot of times the surgeons want to flex.
Yes.
And I feel like if I can remove your flex, give you what you need, it brings it down.
Yes.
And so, but I learned that scrubbing.
Yes.
So being a surgical tech.
Yes.
A lot of times, if you already are prepared, especially for the physicians that are the hard to deal with, quote unquote, you're prepared for it. So I really don't get scared or intimidated. I'm like, what do you need? What can I bring to you to help facilitate getting this patient off the table safely and as quickly as possible?
Right. I've had that situation where I walked in the room and the surgeon was just cussing up a storm. I said, we're not cussing over patients right now. That's not what we're doing right now. And I asked him, what can I get you right now? And then you can cuss with me later. And you know what? He told me what he needed. He looked at me, was so shocked, but they knew me from my scrub role. So it was a little easier for me to engage in those conversations. For those people who don't have that reputation and can't speak that OR language, this is a very intimidating and very tense situation.
Yes, it can be.
Very hard.
Googled, Monique, you're so right. You know, I took the liberty. I just Googled the term workplace tension. I want to read this definition, right? It says workplace tension and stress lowers business productivity and leads to economic loss for both the employee and employer. Tension create work absenteeism and also increase the indirect costs paid for health insurance and workers' compensation by both workers and businesses. So it's a real thing. It's so real that your insurance provider, and you can fact check this, your insurance provider for your health insurance, tension is on a scale. No,
stress
management. Absolutely. Absolutely. Direct correlations to your physical and mental well-being. Yeah, so it's a real thing. I'm glad we're talking about it here tonight.
Yeah. So one of the definitions of tension actually is stress. If we just look at Webster's definition of it, it is stress. And when you're in the room, that is stress. Not only do you have to present and keep your wits in your head about you can't internalize and, like, you know, people say keep that same energy. You can't match that energy. Like, you have to actually de-escalate it and process that. Just like it's a long walk there, like what's going to happen now? You got the long walk back because now you have to deal with, you know,
how am I going to follow up in this email and not create more tension?
Exactly.
Right. And there's also the reverse walk, right? And many of my SPD in my SPD community would identify this. When you have someone from the OR rushing to SPD, bringing the drama, bringing the attention, bringing their right now. It happens. It's like, what's going on? Yeah. You know, just come on in. And some I've seen circumstances where SPD, because it's not guarded properly, has become like a buffet. You know,
I just had this conversation this afternoon.
Now, and listen, I'm everybody
used to being guarded.
And it's not. Look, sales reps are notorious in some facilities for running SPD. Like coming in like, this is what we need right now. And it's a threat of, I'm going to let Dr. So-and-so know you guys aren't ready.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's creating tension, creating
more tension. Exactly.
And it's cool. Yep. And it's kudos to so many of our SPD professionals, OR professionals who are the escalators. And you know who these people are. Yeah. There's always that technician or supervisor or that nurse that we find that corner in the hallway, we exchange those notes, and he or she may handle team red, and I'll handle team blue, and then we'll meet in the middle to revamp to see what lessons to learn. But don't ignore it. You know, there's still work to do. There's still work to do.
And you know what? It's an important piece also to recognize that sterile processing does make mistakes, right? And so how do you address that tension? Because that's now an internal tension, you know? So we screwed up. We made the mistake. Now there's tension within the department, within our own sterile processing department, because that one person that made the mistake, it then made all of us look bad.
Right.
You know, so, you know, how do you deal with that internal department tension?
Well, you know, one way, and I'll let Malikah jump in here. One way we would deal with that internal department tension, our quality checks, right? We go ever so hard to try to catch any errors before they leave these four doors or four walls, right? That way, at least we can have that, you know, in the house conversation before it gets out. But Malikah, how do you handle that internal departmental tension?
Education.
Yeah.
Education is real big. You know, a lot of times what I'm finding is that I'll go into places and it's lack of education, is lack of thorough education, because I'm seeing more and more that we're taking less initiative in hospitals, in SPD, and we're not investing in in-house educators. And we're taking the educator for the OR or surgical services and kind of making it broad to cross lines when they aren't proficient in what SPD does. And so it's unfair. Exactly. It's unfair to the staff.
Yes.
And so, you know, when you go into education and really start to hone in and zone in on what the issues are, I think it makes a difference.
Yeah. And you know what? It makes a huge difference, because if you're not willing to be invested in both areas, how can you educate?
Right.
How can you educate towards service excellence if you don't know both the OR and sterile processing? It's not one-sided. Right. It's not one-sided. And you create tension. You create tension because now the technicians don't want to listen to you because you don't respect what they do. And you only want to share a one-sided education point. And not understanding what it takes to get to that point.
Very valid point.
So Damien here says, great point. And he said, do you bring some new or a non-new leader with you so that they can see and experience and learn? Is that like an option for something that we do? That's a brave move. You don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a working technique. And I'm going to show you, Damien, here's how this played out in some of my experiences. A technician made a mistake on the tray, supervised lead work, whatever. But LaWayne is called to the operating room. So LaWayne is not going to operating room alone. I'm going to get the supervised technician, whatever, so we can learn together, right? So they need to feel that impact. They need to understand how we can correct the action for another time. So I say, yay, it's tag. No, we're it together.
Anytime you can bring someone to the operating room, anytime you can bring any one of your SPD technicians, and I would say the more non-leaders, the better. Because when you're in leadership, you understand the level of expectation of resolving issues and concerns. But this is a nice bridge, a gap to bridge between the technicians that follow leadership to understand the battles that you have to make sure that we're getting things done. The reality of the mistakes that we make when they see it firsthand is very impactful, right? And then sometimes you realize you have a champion on your hands, somebody that will go back and spread the gossip of the mistake that we made and want to educate. But then you got to be careful because you might get the wrong energy and they might gossip about the person who made the mistake, and now you done created tension.
Right.
More
tension. Yes.
And Monique, what you just said, it also has to happen in reverse. It's so important from the OR side. If someone from the operating room sends down a sharp, and we catching the decontamination, or you didn't pre-treat the tray properly, guess what? Time to take a tour to SPD.
Yes.
Right? Let's understand what our colleagues and comrades are experiencing and how you dropping the ball has created a mountain of tension in our department. Let's bridge the gaps. Yeah.
Hey, we see some of these comments right now. It's saying, "Come on, let's go." They're in it. They are here for the chat tonight. You hear me? They are here for the tension tonight. And so T-Don Fly, Arlene, Damien, I see Casey, Deborah. I see a few people in here saying, own the mistake. Like, just own it. Own whatever the process is. Malika, are you in agreement? Like,
I'm definitely into owning a mistake, because if I stand there and I argue and I say it didn't happen,
come on,
what happens? We debate back and forth. Perception is reality.
Yes.
In the eyes of the beholder. So if your perception is that my department made a mistake, they made a mistake.
Yeah.
So it's my job to correct it. However, it needs to be corrected. Education, if it's something that's continuous or whatever, up the ladder, whether it needs to go into performance improvement, whatever that looks like.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, Malika, to that point, to your point, sometimes we have to take ownership of a bad situation that's not our fault, just so that we don't create that tension, right? And so what you do is you try to de-escalate. I'm sorry that this happened today. Let me do a little research. I'll follow up with you in an email. Sometimes that email turns into boop, boop, boop. This was your fault. You see, but you don't create the tension in the moment. And I think a lot of people miss that opportunity. Sterile processing is so used to being defensive. Defend. We didn't do it, But it's not about the fight. It's about the patient,
That's right.
And sometimes you have to make calm right then, do a detailed research, search the facts, find the facts.
We're very reactive, unfortunately. And when we get out of the habit of being reactive, we can move forward.
Yes.
Malika, you listen, people, when you even use that term, being reactive, I was just reading about a nuclear something in some country. You know what happens when a nuclear plant becomes reactive? It explodes, right? Yeah. So a key lesson for many of our leaders: own a mistake. If it's your department, and I tell my folks, I don't care who made the mistake. If it's SPD, I own it.
Right.
Yes.
I own it. Take it on the chin, and then lessen up later.
Yes.
So speaking about tension, I'm so interested to know, how do you diffuse tension within yourself? What are some of your techniques?
A long walk down the hallway, walk around the whole building outside, and you just pray, Lord, help me, Jesus, because I'm going to kill somebody today. My mouth, my tongue, I just want to, right? Yes. But sometimes you don't catch yourself. Sometimes you create that tension, slip of the tongue real easy, right? But here's
how we keeping it real tonight.
Yeah.
Yes. Knowledge and nonsense is in the house.
Yeah. But you know how you resolve that is you quickly apologize.
Yes.
Because what can someone say when you admit you're wrong? Listen, I'm sorry, you guys, it's hard. I did a whole article about employee engagement, put a ring on it. And I talked specifically about not demotivating your team. You go up to the operating room, or guess what? We always talk about the operating room, but at my facility, there's like 18 clinics that we service. Any one of them clinics don't get their instruments, it's not going well for that clinic. It's a big deal, right? Mm-hmm. And so how do you address the concerns to your team without demotivating them? Y'all know this was supposed to be done. Who did it? Who dropped the ball? Like you so mad because shouldn't have happened. But then you have to catch yourself in those moments. You know what, y'all? I'm sorry. Y'all build 15,000 sets every single month, and I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? How do you reconnect back to your team and say, whoa, I'm out of line right now? For you to say that to your team, they like, dang.
It's humbling.
We don't like her today, but we like her today.
Yeah.
Right.
That's real humbling. And you know what? Once your team, listen, no one's gonna remember how well you put together that bar chart, how well you can manage a Cynthia's tray. They're gonna remember your character.
Yes.
So you can stand up in the middle of your huddle or any huddle and say, hey, I apologize. I own this. That supersedes title, supersedes rank, file. You bring them down to the core level of respect. And that's right.
And it teaches your people how to treat each other.
Mm-hmm. It does.
That's a big one. Monique, that's a big one. Because speaking of tension, we also have encountered where someone from a different department will call SPD, and you got a perfectly trained, hello, Dwayne Perkins, SPD, how can I help you? Right? That same person speaks to their coworker, their ride or die, and there's a totally different energy.
Yeah.
Right? Again, that internal tension. So that's a good key point. Very good key point.
Yeah. Hey, I'm loving this. Let's take a quick commercial break. Let's take about 60 seconds, guys. Please feel free to share the video. Let us know in some of the comments. Thank you for your transparency, because tension is something that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And when we come back, we're just going to continue this conversation about living in the SPD tension, because that's where we're starting. Yes. Hey, welcome back. You ready, Luann? Go ahead.
Hey, I'm gonna tell our viewers, don't get tense. We are back.
We are back.
Team, there's an article put out by Mayo Clinic, and the name of the article is "Tips to Relieve Tension." Let me get that right. Yeah, tips to tame stress. So I put the link up, and you should check it out. Let me just read you a few of them to kick us off. Get active, eat a healthy diet, avoid unhealthy habits, meditate. My favorite, laugh more. Assert yourself, and some other very good tips that you can incorporate right outside or at the workplace. So check out that article and see what you can incorporate in your intense workplace.
Yeah. So I have a question. Again, back about tension. Linda Foster says, good point, Luane. Great point there. When it relates to tension and the tension that we have between, this one is talking about this again. These are our definitions of tension. Tension is, I want to say a bugaboo, but tension is intense. It can apply in so many ways. This one is a state of latent hostility or opposition between individuals and groups. Can we talk about how we have to live in the tension with like vendors and the reps who brought the tray in? At 6:37. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but 7 a.m. case. Like, how about that tension right there?
Yeah, that's real
pressure of this is supposed to be happening. Like, what can you do? What about that tension?
That's real tension.
It is.
There are a lot of good reps out there. There are.
Yes.
And then there's those who want to be the superhero of the operating room, or they're vying for the attention of a particular surgeon. So they create scenarios and situations not necessarily true, right? So what I always tell people in the department, especially when you're assigned to the loaners, communicate with the operating room.
Right.
Don't let the sales rep tell the narrative. You call that room and you say, we just got these trays. This is when they will be done. You see, it shuts everything down immediately.
Right.
I used to be at a facility where I had just got hired as manager, and the sales reps ran the place. I had to go to my executive leadership team because I was pissing people off left and right. You don't run this department, you know.
Right.
I got with the chief of surgery, and I said, things need to change. And he came up with a great idea of, let's have a vendor breakfast. Let me introduce you as the new manager. And then that way you can give your expectations going forward, because these are our customers, but they're also our partners, and they got to follow rules as well. So sometimes you have to get the support of the executives, those who are above you, to say, hey, this is what's happening, and it's not going to create a good work environment if we don't control it. So sometimes that's a way to get rid of some of that vendor tension.
I love it. Monique, that's a great idea. I love that story. Another technique I used before, most hospitals have a mission statement. And I would just go with the mission statement. If is your action that you're doing right now in alignment with the mission statement? And most times it's not. You coming in late, jeopardizing patient safety, doesn't meet the mission statement.
Yeah.
Right.
That tray on the ground in front of your car, and I saw you from the side of my eye.
Yes.
Buddy, doesn't meet the mission statement.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, like to Monique's point, it's about partnerships.
Yes.
You know, so we got to hold ourselves and vendors accountable. But for our SPD leaders, you have to know your business.
Yes.
You have to govern your business. Malika, how do you manage?
You tell the story. Right.
That's right.
You tell the story.
Right. Honestly, I've had this happen, I think like a couple months ago, where Rep brought in a few trays. He says, oh, well, you know, I brought these in and it's missing something. And, you know, never said anything. Finally, he comes clean. He says, oh, well, I said something to the service line coordinator. And I'm like, okay, I understand. You know, she has a pretty tight brain on the reps or whatever. And I mean, it's a good thing. But, you know, I had to make it clear. I said, I understand your position, but you have to understand my position being the person that runs this department. I need for you to run these things through me, because ultimately I'm the one who's going to have to reimburse you for these things.
Exactly.
It's not going to come from the coordinator. It's going to come out of my budget.
Right. Serious.
So I need you to communicate with me. And so we had a nice one-on-one.
Yep.
And so now the narrative is, hey, how you doing, Malikah?
Yes.
Everything all right? Yes. You need anything?
Yes.
I'm good. I'm good.
Absolutely.
It makes so much sense, you know, and for our listeners, you are getting so many useful tools. You just heard, host a breakfast, have a monthly meeting with your vendors, right? Yeah. And it's not a broad stroke. We have some of our vendor partners that are amazing.
Yes.
You
Yes.
Some of them are absolutely amazing because guess what? In some facilities, they're also competing for business.
Yes.
Right.
They're also they want you to say, hey, Dr. Brown, you know that rep from company A? Fantastic. Always on time. You know, we never have any issues. IFUs are presented when we need them. You know, they come in to do in services. So we have to also know there's more solid team members on the vendor side than there are the few not spoiled, rotten apples. They've been doing it so long.
Yeah.
Jamil Ross said tension is real. It is comprised of action, reaction, pulls. Good point, Jamil.
Yes. It is.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Action and reaction.
Action. Yes.
That's perfect.
It is, because that's actually what tension is. A lot of people don't realize tension is never still. It is static. It's like static movement, but it's never still. You know, even if it's like something you're tightening, that is the tension in it. And so
words are powerful.
Right.
And
I love them. Language mastery.
That's the pull. Those words are powerful. You can make a mistake, but it's the reaction to the mistake that creates the tension.
Absolutely.
Right? And so how do you say the words?
Right.
This softens the tension, loosens the grip.
Right.
Good point.
You know, one of the things that over the years I've learned on this side of life is Jamel says, yes, Monique, with a few S's. Yes, Monique. But like when I feel the tension, when I feel the outside tension getting in, or the inside tension attempting to get out, because that's a real thing. It's to be like, let me out of here, you know. And I'm like, no, hold your form. Like I literally almost split my focus, because if I'm focusing on the thing that the tension's trying to get out on, I literally start focusing on my voice and on the pacing, and my voice can get so monotone that it can even almost kind of create an awkward space, because I'll just be like, no, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
When I say no, and the chin drops, like your voice goes down if you bring your chin down.
I call that my therapist. I call that my therapist voice. So what are we doing today?
Yes.
How is that making you feel? How can I help you?
What did you attempt before you actually brought it to me? What did you attempt to come in? And if it's just like, no. And then, really in the tension moment, I could be saying no to myself just as much as I'm saying no to you.
Yes.
But we're going to say no. We're going to diffuse this. Like if I want my voice to go up, I need my voice to go down.
Yes.
I need to move opposite. Like I learned it in refereeing. I need to go opposite the ball sometimes.
But you know what? That's a learned skill, which is why learning how to communicate, taking these self-help classes for professionals is an investment in you, and it's important. You know, our leadership plug, but it is important. But you also have to be mindful of tensions that we ourselves bring to work, right?
Yes,
we bring it in here. You know, it was a sunny day till James came in the department. You know, beautiful day. So how do you leave? And I think it's easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
I had a boss say, leave all your crap at the door, right? Then you're only gonna get a pair of sneakers because this is old me, right? Yeah. What's the technique? How do you separate the two, Malikah?
You know what? Honestly, sometimes it really is difficult to leave it at the door, but sometimes the work becomes refuge. Yes. You know, and for some people, that's what it is. You know, I know I've encountered staff members at various facilities where they've come in and they brought home to work. And, you know, albeit I'm empathetic to what's going on, and I will be a listening ear to whatever you need, however you need me to be. But we have to be focused, because at the end of the day, we still have to make sure that our patients are cared for. And that's what we're here. We're here to provide a service for our patients. You know, so sometimes you just have to reinforce that, but also give them the opportunity to have that safe space.
Yeah.
Yes.
the opportunity of knowing that they have a safe space.
And you got to let people know about the energy that they're bringing. Like I tell people all the time, it's okay to have an off day. I'm going to have an off day. But 2 off days in a row becomes you creating a toxic environment. And I can't have that with my leaders. And I recognize it in myself. I recognize when I'm starting to have, you know, a day when you're sometimes you don't even have to be in leadership. Like say, for instance, you do ortho and you got a run of total joints and you don't have enough trays and you're assigned to, and all you've done for the last 3 days is turn over trays because it's just so much. End of the year, everybody want to have their surgeries, right? That's stressful on the staff, stressful on the leaders. When I feel myself getting a rise in me where I'm struggling to manage my stress in those tension moments, guess what I do? I take a long weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, okay? And I teach that to my team. When you guys get to the point, I got dynamite technicians that love working overtime. But guess what? I can see the energy in some people, after, you know, the whole doggone week, 12 hours. Okay, come on. You're starting to make mistakes and you're grouchy. So you can't do this no more, right? Take Friday off, take Monday off. You're not burning all your PTO. That's just 2 days of PTO. But it's a long weekend and it's a long enough stretch where you're spending a lot of time away from work so you can level set, reset your thinking and your mindset. I do it. I don't say I do it all the time, but I take those days when I feel that rise coming in me.
You know, when I a few years back when I was when I would oversee travelers and some of the interim staff, like the travelers were like, we want all the money. Yes, 16 hours. If 17 hours is OSHA's cutoff, 16.59, 7 days a week. And I would literally say, no, you've been working 2 weeks in a row. You haven't had a day off. And, you know, and they would be like they would actually get upset with me. And for a long time, I was uncomfortable. But what I know about leadership and emotional, like when you're depleted, you're depleted. Yes. And you might not know it. And I'm going to have to clean up your over response. Yes. When you over respond to something, I have to come in with these Superman earrings and a cape, you know. And I would just be like, no, because whether you believe it or not, you're not performing optimally. Yeah. And you're like, I'm fine. I'm like, every time you're a little more aggressive, you know. You you go take a nap. You know what? Take a couple of days. And here's a movie, you know, here's a gift card. Go catch a movie, eat some popcorn. Yeah. And come back Tuesday and let's hit it.
Yeah. Some Starbucks.
We need more leaders like that, Sharon, who and teammates, right? To identify when someone cuffs need to be refilled. You know, you can't have your folks running on E out here.
Yeah, not at all.
They're gonna crash and stop.
Yes. Now, can we talk about it? Even now, that was with some travelers, and I'm sure there are some people too. When the overtime, they like get it while the getting's good. Especially as you said, toward the end of the year, there's Christmas shopping for them. Yes, it's higher volumes for people getting it in, but it's also Christmas shopping. What about that time here for this definition that's on screen? The act or action of stretching or the condition or degree of being stretched when it's not intentional. When you have 6 TEs, but your budget says you need 17 or something like that. What about that type of stretching? Yeah. What about that type of pull on you? Because, you know, even a rubber band under continued demand stress, you know what it does, right? It snaps. Yeah. It snaps. It's no longer useful at all, and it snaps. We don't want no snaps in 2022. So, okay, I'm done. Talk about it.
No, so let me talk about it. So I wrote a whole article and a presentation. So I don't know if the presentation is going to be accepted for Nashville or not. I'm still waiting to get my response. But it's called Calculating Productivity. Do you have who you need? Right? Calculating productivity. So that's a real thing. So many sterile processing departments calculate based on surgery cases, based on surgery minutes. You know what I'm saying? They do so much. But sterile processing doesn't start until surgery is done. So how are we calculating that? So I wrote this whole argument. I'm not going to go into it, but
that's a good point.
Yeah. The reason why I wrote it is because a few years ago, I was transitioning this hospital that was outsourced to in-house. And I said, we don't have enough technicians. So I did a time study, and I said, okay, with this time study, the average technician in my department, we can produce 3 sets per hour, the average. And we have multi-level type. We got low complexity, high complexity, but I just gave my overall number, 3 sets per hour. So guess what? With the amount of techs that we have, we can only produce 152 trays, but the demand is 545. This is how many more techs I need. That was tension for me because they were forcing me to do work with people who I didn't have. And we were making magic happen, but guess what? I was wearing out the team. Yes. And then enough was enough. So you just outsource. You just got rid of your outsource. You don't want to do that again. So let me show you what we need. And so I was able to go to the executive leadership team and tell my story and get the staffing that I need. But I just wrote the article, just did the presentation because I'm at that safe space now where I can talk about those things and it ain't gonna hurt nobody's feelings. But that creates tension for the leadership. It creates tension for the staff that's in the department. And the staff, the technicians in the department, they want their leaders to fend for them, to defend them.
Talk about it.
When you're not defending that team and when you're not coming to them saying, yes, y'all, listen, I'm trying to get some help, then you lose all respect in that. Now you got a high turnover because nobody wants to work in that stress.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
T. Don Fly said, amen to that.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Listen, in addition to the human resource factors, there's similar stresses when you got equipment that the whole city knows you got the first sterilizer off the very first assembly line when sterilizers first came out, and you still trying to make this thing work.
Yes.
Right? So that's stressful at times walking into the department knowing what you got to deal with every day.
Yeah.
How do you manage?
Yeah.
Arlene said this. Were you about to say something, Malikah?
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was reading comments.
I know. I was reading to him. Look, and then I got a text message from somebody that's on the list. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, I'm reading comments. I'm trying to read comments, and then it flipped, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that capital budget request is just as much tension as how many technicians I need. It's the same level of tension.
If not
because
more.
if you don't work, the people don't
my
work.
God, I just want to iron out some of the tension because even though we're talking about it like this is the reality. This is the reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel, even as we're talking about it and we're laughing, like I feel this from the professionals in the industry. I feel that, like, love the industry, love what we do. Like, the love is there, the passion is there for the job, but that tension is real. And it's like this what we live. On day to day. You don't know how the tension is gonna manifest or how many ways it's gonna manifest.
Yes,
right.
You bringing a long walk back from room, which say room 21 suite.
Yes.
You're like, all right, I made it through that. Right. Now you walk in and it's a vendor. Or what Malikah, remember we were speaking about as far as when there's some changes in the IFU. So now you just had the long walk back. Now,
that's something that's heavy. That I'm facing now. That I have vendors that are going to soon change their IFUs, and as a result, they're going to be introducing ultrasonics as part of the normal practice. And so, part of what I'm asking them is it a thing that is based on autonomy, meaning what I visually see, I then utilize it then? Or is this something that no matter what it is, it has to be put in the ultrasonic as a part of the processing? And so, I'm waiting for that clarity because some IFUs haven't been updated. But like I said, this is something that some companies are now going to be introducing. And so it's starting to create tension because where I'm at doesn't have the capacity to do that now. Doesn't have the footprint, doesn't have the extra ultrasonic that's needed. We don't have this, and we don't have the space to expand.
The real estate.
Now, Malikah, let me bounce off of this, because this is the ultimate tension moment.
Yes.
When you cannot tell the story, and this lady wrote here, Jamil, that we do a disservice when we consistently make the magic happen. She is absolutely right. So when those IFUs change, the tension is, okay, we used to do it, so why are you not doing it now? Mm-hmm. You know, we used to could get it done in 30 minutes, so why we gotta wait now, right? Okay. When you go to your advocates, infection preventionists,
yes,
okay, and you say, hey, I need support here, be prepared for the tension that you bring in the guns, and they're going to hold the OR accountable to follow certain things, right?
Right.
So this is what I would say. Always use infection control, but lesson learned from me. Let the leaders who you're trying to persuade to do it the right way know that I'm going to bring another entity in that will judge this situation. Either we can work it out together and compromise for the greater good, or we can have infection control resolve the issue for us. So I made the big mistake one time of bringing infection control in. And so now I'm like, okay, I brought my big sister in to fight, you know, and it really wasn't about the fight. But guess what? That created tension. And so infection control started pouncing, started doing audits, started rounding. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't to make sure the right way. I mean, I welcomed it, but it ruined a relationship that I had with someone in the OR.
Had an adverse effect.
Because and when I think back on it, I could have handled it differently.
Right.
Because
it alleviated tension in one area and created more tension in another.
I did.
Yes.
This is where we live.
I did.
So
I did that.
It's so important to also acknowledge that although experience is one of the best teachers, a lot of managers don't have your experience or our experience. But these are tools that can be taught and changed and invested in. So to the C-suite, make sure, do your best to provide a resource to your SPD leaders.
Yeah.
They need to know how to manage and tap in when they need to tap in. But it's your job as a leader to see if we're running on E.
Yeah, I was in one of my tension moments. I was like, I'm sick of this mess. I'm getting ready to call infection control. They're going to tell you what to do. I should have worked to resolve more or explain. Let's bring in another energy to help us, right?
Right.
Yes.
You know what? And this leads us to a new place, right? There's a term being put out there now called resigning in silence. Like it's a new occurrence. You know what? For many healthcare workers, I resigned from one job 10 times already in silence, and still came to work the next day on time, right? Because it's right. You check out. It's how you have to learn how to manage that tension much better. Because what we also do, speaking from experience, we normalize it as if this is how it's supposed to be. This is the culture, and I and someone said, you knew what you was getting into. No, you signed up for this. No, there was no tension meter at the interview. No one told me every Tuesday you was gonna literally throw trays in the department. So we have to exchange these notes. It's so important.
Right.
Listen, I remember, I don't know if y'all remember it, like when COVID first hit, and people were like, listen, these healthcare workers need a break. They need a break. And like literally there was so many people in the public, like they knew what they signed up for. I said, no, they never. And they're like the military, you know what? I said, no, the military understands I am putting my life on the line. Healthcare is like, I am putting my life in service. I want to serve. I want to help people. But I never stood up to do this, to take the bullet. I was like, everyone didn't do that. Somebody is just like, I like cooking. I like cooking, so I'm working in the cafeteria like they. So I was just like, I was like, wait a minute, and it was so many people like, well, you signed up for it. It was just so cavalier. I said, spoken like someone who's not having to deal with it at all.
That's ignorance. Now, nothing brings about tension like ignorance. How about that? Let's talk about that. Ignorance.
Yes, that's tension too, right there.
That's it. That's tension.
Because you can't tell everybody they're ignorant.
The lack of knowledge and unrealistic expectation of sterile processing creates tension.
Yeah, it truly does. It truly does. It's hard. It's hard when you're talking to a subject matter expert on nothingness.
Yes.
Right? What you're telling me is illogical, not logical, and I can't connect it with anything ever.
Come on.
So again, it's important that we have that multidisciplinary forces.
Yes.
SPD voice may be hard to penetrate. Where you got to get to go. So you got to tap in quality control.
Yes.
Tap in executive leadership. You may have to tap in infection prevention.
Yeah.
But know your resources.
Yes. Use your resources because they definitely come in handy when you go in knowing who the key players are or whatever. Definitely use them to your advantage. Make yourself known. Even if you have to say, okay, I've never met you before, but I'm working on this project and I feel like you would be a great asset in knowing what's going on.
Yes.
No time like the present.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great point. Some wanted to also share a team building tension defeating activity you can do. That was a lot said, right?
Yeah.
So we started doing in some of our facilities what's called an ice cream social. Yeah. And what the ice cream social is, if you've done it, it works really great to meet some of your other teammates and to bring some tension down. Either the OR will join force with SPD and we buy huge tubs of ice cream, and we'll work with the cafeteria and we'll just scooping ice cream for all of our SPD and nursing subtext, A great way to break up the day is really not going to destroy your budget, But think about those team building activities as another great way to bring down attention in your work.
I got an excellent one for you. So I worked at this hospital in Indianapolis. Amazing hospital, but the OR and SPD had lots of tension. So I went to the store and I bought hula hoops. Me and my family, we have these hula hoops. My nieces, we love the hula hoop. It's fun. And so I did it to kick off SPD week and invited the OR to SPD for a hula hooping contest. And let me tell you, it went through the whole hospital. And so the hospital had a picnic later on in the summer and they did the same thing. They took the hula hoops and we said, this is how we jump through the hoops for y'all. So let's see who can do it the best. And that's how we did. We called it, we jumped through hoops for you guys. And even the OR, even the OR director got in on the competition in hula hoop. It was hilarious. And you know what it did? It broke up a lot of tension of some of those people that have bad attitudes. And let me tell you, there was this old woman. I won't say no names. I promise you I won't. She worked in sterile processing, but she had been there for a long time. Near retirement. And just like the OR has their people, she was the one in sterile processing. We couldn't stand when she would have the phone because she had an attitude every time she had to answer the phone. Well, y'all ain't looking for it. It's up there. I took it up there yesterday. She just bad attitude. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to deal with a bad attitude person. And for her to hula hoop was amazing. I love it.
That's awesome.
And it broke up some perceptions of her being this mean person that she really is cool and like to have fun. So
Hey Monique, you gave so many people ideas because right around this time, people are like, wait a minute, don't we have a
SPD week
holiday coming out?
Yeah.
I gotta be unique, right?
Yeah.
Watch your LinkedIn feed tomorrow. You're gonna have a whole podcast on jumping through hoops with the hula hoop. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Knowledge and
first.
That and the ice cream social.
Ice cream social. Hula hoop contest.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Hey, you know what? For some of our viewers right now, we have some time. T-Don says she's totally still in that. Hey, why don't you guys put in the comments some things that you may like for CS Week?
Get the hula hoops now because the season is changing.
Put it in the comments what you may want for CS Week, what a good idea is. Because people are looking, vendors are looking. We all eat pizza, but you know what? Come on.
Break the tension.
Break the tension. And the monotony.
Nicole said hi all the way from Australia. Hey, Nicole.
Nicole, hey.
Good morning to you. Yeah, SPD week is coming up, and I'm gonna push back on Sharon. We don't want your pizza.
No doubt. I eat pizza, but no.
Out, right?
Hey, my hands are up. I give and I yield. You're right. Don't say, I'm with that. Yeah. And you know who I always feel bad for?
Who?
Third shift.
Yes.
Eating that cold pizza and that old matted up pasta from Olive Garden that was hot during the man.
No, you got to do something different for night shift. Yeah, you got to do the breakfast. Let me tell you what's an awesome breakfast for night shift. If you bring in a bunch of McDonald's, McGriddles, and sausage biscuits for night shift, like McDonald's is open at 6 o'clock, 6:30, right before 7 o'clock huddle. Bring in that, man. Come on.
All right, we getting away free. Look, somebody just said my third shift gets hot pizza. We're getting away from the pizza. Okay,
do something different.
But yeah, good job with the pizza.
Listen, you want to create some tension. You keep giving that old stale.
Bury the pizza. Bury the
pizza. That's funny.
No, I asked my team what they wanted. They straight said PF chain. PF chain. So listen, take care of your folks. If pizza's your thing, then pizza it away. Take care of your team.
Mm-hmm. Ask your team what they want, though. Start asking people what they want. Quit giving them what you think they want. This is a good relationship. This is how do you alleviate tension. Mm-hmm. Don't assume that your partner is just wants. I heard this pastor preach this one time. You keep giving me fried chicken, but I like baked chicken. That's because you want the fried chicken. Quit giving people what you want. Give them what they want.
I'm coming in with that. I'm coming in with that right there. And then I'm coming to you, Malikah. When somebody tell you what they want, I just
give them what they want.
Friends, and I'm like, if somebody hired you to paint their house, and you like, but look what I did for their garden. They didn't ask nothing about the garden.
Nothing about that garden. They didn't even care. They don't even garden.
Paint the house, if they. Why?
Paint it green. Why are you painting it yellow? Because you thought it was better yellow when I asked for it to be green.
I know you asked for this, but I was looking and I said, nope, this is what she wants.
That's how you avoid tension. And you want to talk about this resigning in silence? That's how you resign in silence right there. Like they don't even listen to me.
Okay, I know it's almost 9, and I want you to get in on this too. But can we just expound a little bit on the resigning in silence? I want people to understand that article. It's not saying they resign and you don't know that they are going to resign. It's saying they resign on the clock. They showing up, but they're already resigned. You understand what I'm saying? They quit at work. They just still coming in. Did y'all catch that in that article?
We saw that.
I was like,
it also said that because of just the sheer environment in some areas, managers and leaders are afraid to lose their people. So they're turning a blind eye to things they wouldn't have done a few years back. So it creates tension in the department because other workers, you might lose one who's resigning in silence, but those who are observing those actions, you're going to lose them too.
Right.
There have been times. Go ahead, Malikah. I'm sorry. I just got excited. We're all fired up.
Honestly, resigning in silence, especially those that are truly dedicated to the job, they don't consider it a job. They consider it a career. And there's a big difference because people that consider it a job show up for the check. People that consider it a career, they show up for the patients every day. And so that's the difference. In the career makers are the ones you want to keep. And those are the ones you really want to reach out to and really see what is it that can be done. Help me help you. How can I help you to not resign in silence? How can I help you to check back in? To be here, to be present.
I love it.
Hey, to our audience, this is part 1.
Turner fan, y'all.
We
need to do a part 2 of this right here.
Eminem. We coming back.
The invite is extended right now. You're on the spot. You guys hear? You hear Lawayne and myself extending this invitation to both Monique and Malikah. Bring us on back as we can continue, because there was a lot of areas of tension that we didn't hit, but
we didn't even get.
You know, sometimes it's so tense we can't even relax enough to talk about all the dadgum tension, right? Because it's like when you're so busy and somebody's like, "What do you need help with?" And you're like, "I don't know," because you're so you
exactly.
Yes.
And Sharon, I would love to also hit next time some of the cultural differences of tension. Because tension in New York City is different than tension in Scottsbluff, Nebraska.
So how you gonna bring that in at hashtag 859?
Come on. Right. Look, cultural and generational tension. How about that?
And regional, right?
Yes.
All of that. Like, I didn't know baseball meant so much to you, Boston. Why are you yelling at me? I'm just saying, it happened. It's a thing. It's a thing.
It is. Well, hey, this has been amazing.
You said it's pop. I said it's soda. It's pop to you, okay?
Whatever you want. Whatever you want.
No.
The drive,
New York saying, yes, ma'am.
Whatever.
She run around New York saying, yes, ma'am. You about to get kidnapped.
Not only
sit down, beat down.
Wait a minute.
Here's tension. That bad, Lawayne.
Okay, we're about to go, y'all, but here is tension.
Okay.
Me in New York, born and raised in Oklahoma. So coming up to people like, hey, how you doing? Speaking to everybody. That was tension because they like, you know, they low-key looking at me like I'm for real suspect.
Do I know you? Where you know me from?
Yeah, and I'm like, these people, what is going on? These people.
I'm from Detroit, so you definitely, we ain't speaking.
Listen, man, where I'm from, not only are we speaking, when we pass the card, we waving at one another. Where you from, Malikah? Y'all don't speak either?
Philly don't speak, but I know Detroit don't speak either.
I don't. Detroit and I didn't know that about Philly. I learned
that the hard way.
It depends on what side of the city you want.
I don't know what restaurant they sent me to for that cheesesteak, and the lady just online yelling, "You want cheese whiz or no cheese whiz?" I'm like, wait a minute, who pitched cheese whiz on a cheesesteak? Let's start with that.
Tourist.
Back to the line.
That's who does it.
Sent me back to the line. I was so intimidated.
Tourist.
Listen, man, this is so good. Okay, listen, I want to respect y'all's time. Listen, thanks so much for being with us here on Knowledge and Nonsense. You all rock. We'll be back Tuesday evening. Knowledge and Nonsense, the Knowledge and Nonsense Network will be here with the talk with Kenneth Campbell. He's breaking it down, continuing conversations. But we are going to bring Malikah and Monique back because we're going to talk about the tension, regional, generational, cultural, all of that. Because this is where we live. So listen, can we just take a few seconds and clap for the people watching? I know sometimes you guys, but we just want to applaud you because this is where y'all exist. Every day. Every day. And you're not crazy. Go get a massage.
And you're not alone. You're not alone.
Get your feet rubbed. Get something because that is the state that you operate in, and you're operating well. You are making magic happen, which again, I do subscribe to what Jamel said. Mm-hmm. To continue to make magic happen, it sounds good, but it also means you're not going to get any help because no one is aware that this is a problem area. Right. So we'll keep it real, but this is where we live in attention. And Lawayne, take us out. I'm so proud of SPD.
Hey, to be continued. Check us out this week, Thursday, with Kenneth. And on Saturday, you'll see us back here talking about community issues and issues that pertain to us all. But listen, tonight was a fun conversation. Yes. Please come back and see us. Share. You know what to do with that button at the bottom. And we're going to see you soon. And don't be so tense. We'll be back.
Yeah, don't be so tense.
We'll be back.
So tense. All right, guys.
I love it.
Bye.
Bye.